It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's Rave TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Good morning, everyone. This is Gary K. and
Steph Beckett. How's it going, everyone? Happy Wednesday. This is Rave TV, the industry's one and only weekly live TV show.
Yeah, and we're coming to you live at ravepubs.com on LinkedIn, both the company LinkedIn and my LinkedIn personally, but also we're coming to you on all the socials.
Yep.
And speaking of socials,
that
was a good segue, right?
Yeah. That was.
How about the Coldplay concert last Wednesday, huh? Man, I'll tell you what, that blew up social media. I was telling you yesterday, Steph.
Yes.
You know, I teach social media marketing at UNC, and besides the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, I think this is the thing that has blown up the internet or blown up social media the most. Yeah. Like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge moved really rapidly that summer. You may recall in 2015.
Yeah.
And so now we're almost 10 years later, and I've not seen anything blow up that quickly as that couple that were at the Coldplay concert. And I guess that was at Boston. It was at their football stadium over there.
Yes. So I always, in terms of like social media relevance, I always grade everything by how quickly it gets to like the 50 plus generation of people, because like, I am a person who is like on the internet a lot, right? Like, so when something hits me, like I'm going to assume my dad doesn't know about it.
Yeah.
But if even my dad knows about it and like my grandma knows about it, then I know we've hit. It is truly a fast and like crazy like social media moment. So the way that Coldplay incident has like very quickly transformed the world, and how even brands now are like using it in their advertising, even though it's something that just happened last week. Like I haven't seen a phenomenon like that in a minute.
But one thing that I noticed is that it really shows the power of social media to disseminate misinformation.
Right.
Because following the event, there were things like supposedly the CEO's daughter came on and was upset and talking about it on TikTok. That was fake. There was supposedly a statement from the CEO that was fake. There was a statement from the company that was fake. There was a statement from the woman's husband that was fake. There was supposedly a statement from both of them that was also fake, but they got pervaded. Those statements and those videos exploded on social media, both on Instagram and TikTok specifically, as fast as anything. I mean, and people believed him. I had friends that said, "Oh, you got to watch this. This is a statement from her, from the daughter and from the son." And it took a very, one quick Google search to know that he didn't have a daughter, so I knew the statement was fake, right? But a lot of people just send it around and assume that it's real, right? I mean, because they're seeing it, they assume it's real.
And the more people who post this misinformation, that is more grounds for AI to be able to aggregate this misinformation, because AI still isn't perfect, right? Like a lot of us use AI as a Google search, like, specifically generative AI, specifically like ChatGPT, Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, what have you. So the more spaces in which this information is posted, AI aggregates this as the truth, because it's looking for places where this is widely said so that it can aggregate this information as the truth and give it to you if you ask it a question. So that just kind of goes to show you cannot trust this stuff. Like you still have to do your own research from reputable sources. ChatGPT, not a reputable source on its own.
It's going to be interesting to see how all of this sort of ferrets out, because ultimately it's exploding so quickly that someone's going to have to step in and say, okay, here's how we're going to manage this. And if you remember, Steph, OpenAI, who created ChatGPT, had sort of this level of professionalism or integrity to it because it was a nonprofit. But now, of course, they're becoming a for-profit.
Yeah.
So everything changes, right? So, obviously there's an inherent questionable question of, in most people's brains about what they see in an Instagram or a TikTok, specifically, especially TikTok, not being real. But when you see it from a source like OpenAI, you make an assumption that it is accurate. But what you're saying is interesting, because what it means is that the more misinformation that's out there that is used by sources, the more likely it is to be used by AI as a source as well.
Yeah.
Which makes you, and the reason why I brought that up is it makes you wonder about all the other stuff that you're seeing on social media or on AI that is not accurate, right?
Absolutely.
It's sort of like, no matter what event you're ever at, whenever that event is written about, whether it was in a mainstream publication or trade publication, what you experienced is different than what the person wrote, because the person wrote their narrow view of it.
Yeah.
And what your experience is different. So therefore, like you said, it takes sort of an educated mind to consciously be aware of that. How this relates to AV is interesting because, we could ask, we're going to have a guest on from Crestron today, Joel. I don't know that he's going to have the answer to this, but it'd be interesting to ask them. I mean, the truth of the matter is, web browsing on websites is plummeting rapidly.
Absolutely.
What's happening is people are going to OpenAI and ChatGPT to get their information, and they're not clicking over to the source of the information. They're getting their answer and then moving on.
Instead of like being like, wait, where did you get this answer?
Like, what are the whole industry of search engine optimization? I mean, thank God we're not in that industry, and thank God we don't care about that stuff.
Hell yeah.
But it's the whole industry of search engine optimization and optimizing your website to make sure people go to it is dying a rapid death, right? I mean, and because a lot of people are just using AI, and what's really going to be scary is when Apple gets their shit together, because Apple, so many people use Apple devices, and right now it's very interesting, Apple's AI plan. And for those of you who haven't been paying attention, because everyone jokes about how bad Siri is and how bad their AI is, Apple actually published a document back in May. Maybe it may have been April, but it was certainly by May. It said, here's how bad AI is, and this is why we're not participating in AI yet. We're going to, as a company, fix AI before we participate in AI, and this is why we haven't incorporated agentic AI in all of our products. And it was really interesting. They stated a bunch of facts, but they also gave prompts. They said, all you got to do is go to OpenAI and give it this prompt, and go to Gemini and give it this prompt to go. And they showed how inaccurate it was, and that they didn't want to play in that inaccuracy. So when AI is sort of fixed, everything's going to change, right? Because then your dad, as you said, people who are sort of like mainstream will just start using it, and it'll change everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Speaking of which, I told you that I started reading Ready Player One. Yeah, I'm almost done with it.
Yeah.
And it is so interesting that it was published in like 2011, because it didn't get I don't think it was meant to try to predict what would actually happen in the world, but it has gotten certain things right.
Sure.
And I think like the way that the people in the book really lean on the oasis as their way of life, I think could easily happen with us and generative AI and using AI in every little thing. So I've been reading this book almost as like a warning.
It's a great book though. I think what I thought was really cool about the book was the use of XR technology, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they had a headset where you could see through. I mean, the only company that has that so far is Apple.
Yeah.
And the Vision Pro is the best beta product I've ever used. Like, in other words, it's not a totally finished product. It is by far incredibly just mind-blowing if you ever try it out, right? It's just super expensive. But that concept of being able to be in a different world but also see the real world is really interesting to me, because whether it's a pair of glasses like what Ray-Ban has done with their partnership with Meta, or it's something more substantial like what Google and Apple are trying to do, Sony's even trying to do as well. It does sort of change everything, because just meetings, right? I mean, one of the features Apple has in their headset, Steph, you may know, is if you go to a Teams meeting or a WebEx meeting or a Zoom meeting, you can actually attend as an avatar, or you can attend as yourself. But when you're there in the meeting, you don't see the headset on you, even though you're wearing a headset. Everyone else sees your full face because it's remapping your face based on the cameras inside the headset. It's pretty cool to actually experience that. And this is generation one. Like, you think about, it's just amazing to me to think about, and this is a stupid comparison, but this is a good comparison for our industry. I used to manage this event at Infocom called the Projection Shootout. And people would bring in giant boxes that weighed 200 pounds. Right. That would generate 100 lumens or 200 lumens of light. Now we have a projector that can fit in your pocket that can generate 1,000 lumens. And we have a projector from Epson that just got launched that's 18 pounds. It generates 8,000 lumens. That was not that long ago. You're talking in the course of 15 years, the industry sort of evolved, technologically so rapidly. 5-10 years from now, AI is going to be integrated into so many things that we're just not even, it'll just be there rather than us calling it AI, right?
Yeah. So
I'm excited.
Highly recommend if any of you haven't read the book. It's also full of like niche 70s and 80s references. Like this thing had me looking up what the video game Joust is. I was like, what the heck is that? I've had to look up like Japanese comics from 1978 to like understand this book. So if you were alive in that time and interested in that, it's a good book.
And here's a really kind of like personal fact. That is weird, is that I'm on an airplane reading this book. This is 10 years ago, at least. I'm reading this book when it came out, whenever it was. So I'm reading this book. I'm on an airplane. I'm on an international flight. I can't remember. I think maybe even going to ISC. And I'm reading it. In the first chapter, it talks about the first person the video gamer developer who hid an Easter egg in the video game and why he did it, right? Because they wouldn't let him be on the credits. So he decided to sign his name and put his name inside the game.
And like a bonus.
That dude is a friend of mine. His name is Warren Robinette, and he lives in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. He was the first person who created the term Easter egg and put this sort of hidden thing in a video game. And when you get to the end of this game, and I can't remember the name of the game, you actually can see everyone's signature who developed the game. Do you remember the name of the game, Steph? I forgot the name of it.
It's Atari 2600's Adventure.
Yeah, it was Adventure. So and he's retired now. Obviously, he sold his company, the Learning Company, years and years ago, and teaches at the University of North Carolina. But the book the end of the book is the whole ending of the book is about him, Steph. So you'll see that how incorporated he is into it. But we need to move on. Right?
I know. But this is interesting. People
it is, and we get a lot of feedback from our watchers and listeners that they want to participate in these kind of things. So how are you using AI? We want to know, and how's it impacting your everyday life? And maybe we'll get something from Joel and Crestron and sort of how it's impacting their websites. But we do have a temperature check. We got one more week to take this month's temperature check, Steph. What are you asking?
So this is all about immersive AV and, performing immersive installs. And if you're utilizing that, so are your clients all in on projection mapping? Are you just starting to get into spatial audio? I'm asking like how immersive you are in the installs you are doing in your job. Because this is something we're talking about, but I'm interested in seeing like how utilized this technology is actually being. So it's 3 questions, takes about 2 minutes, and we are giving away 2 $50 Amazon gift cards to 2 random respondents. So please answer it. All
right. So we're going to show you this quick piece on the Crestron mission, and when we come back, we're going to bring Joel Mulpeter. I know I did not pronounce that right, but Joel, let him correct me. He'll be on live. He's a product marketing with Crestron.
Our mission at Crestron is simple: enable exceptional customer experiences through technology.
Just simply describing controls and audio-video technology really doesn't help people grasp the full extent of what we do.
We take all the different pieces of hardware that you have in your business or your house, and we bring all of that together into one solution.
Whether that's in your home, making it easier to just live through simple automation, or in businesses empowering employees to do more.
Crestron makes the best technology to enable people to share information and entertainment, to connect and collaborate, whether they're in person or remote, and to make any space super simple and easy to use.
Systems and solutions
that people can rely on. That's our advantage. That's our difference. That's what it means to be true blue.
All right, so
let's bring Joel on.
Sounds good.
Yep. Hey, Joel, how are you?
Very good. How are you, Gary? How are you, Steph?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us.
Your last name pronounced Mulpeter?
Mulpeter. Nailed it. That's perfect.
There you go.
Great.
Didn't do too bad. Yeah. Or where are you based out of?
I'm sitting in Utah right now. Not originally from Utah, but yeah, sitting.
Yeah, I was going to say that accent sounds a little different than Utah.
Originally from Australia, but
okay, great. Well, welcome to Rave TV. Thanks for joining us. Tell us a little about what you do at Crestron.
Sure. Yeah. I look after our commercial product marketing. So I spend a lot of time talking to our engineers and our product managers and developers, and working out what we're planning to launch, what's coming to market, how are we going to launch that, what's the best ways to get that out to the market. And then we have a very heavy hand in things like Infocom, ISE, and all those great trade events where we get a chance to show all those new innovations and new products that are still, fantastic launching platforms for those.
Well, you brought up Infocom. That's one of the first questions we're going to ask you about is how you felt about Infocom and sort of like how the messaging went at Infocom, because I know that you really pushed the True Blue messaging. Talk about that for a moment and sort of how you felt about Infocom as a show overall.
Of course, yeah. Infocom was a great show. We love doing that show, and it's always feels so close to ISE, right? They should be far away, but they feel like they really sneak up on one another. But yeah, we went into Infocom with two core messages. The first one was True Blue, which was something we had started at our Masters event in Madrid a month earlier. But True Blue was really a reinvigoration of this idea that there's a community of people that Crestron works with. They are people who are purchasing equipment. They're people that are looking for support, for system design, for training. And that True Blue community, that gathering of all those folks together, is really something we want to celebrate and push forward. So, we had an underlying tone at the booth about, be True Blue with us as we innovate, as we push the industry forward together. We can't do that alone as a manufacturer. There has to be a whole group of people doing that with us. As we, again, push this industry into all these new things, like you guys were talking about earlier, AI and all those great things that are going to keep us on our toes as an industry. The other message we did have was content collaboration and control. So this was really allowing Crestron to look at all the things we do, all the products and all the bits and bobs we make, and helping to summarize those into what they deliver into spaces. And we really see content collaboration and control, and you'll see some exciting stuff later in the year and into early next year that really helps us distill what we think modern spaces need today. And that is the ability to get content, 2 screens, any device, any format, as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Collaboration as a term is evolving every day as well, right? It went from remote to hybrid to now, as much in-person collaboration and some mix of all three at different times.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of technologies we need to make those work. And then obviously control, a pedigree for Crestron, doing control since day one, but control for us is, really about automating what should just work for people. And then when we can't automate, making sure we offer the user interfaces and the controllability so people can worry about what they stepped in the room to do, not how the technology works. We just want to make sure they can teach, they can meet, they can do whatever they stepped in that space to actually achieve.
So was there a particular solution or demo on the show floor in Crestron's booth that you think really grabbed attention this year, maybe even more than initially expected?
Yeah, we have, we tend to split our booth up into either product demonstrations or experiences. It's interesting when, people that are really in the industry, pros and stuff, want to come and see the products and see how they work and look at the ins and outs. But they also want to see the experience, and a lot of end users want to see the experience as well and understand what that delivers. So the 2 experiences for us that did draw a lot of attention was, first off, our intelligent video lab. That was a space where we kind of set up an area. It was supposed to be a lab. It was supposed to be come and see the experiences of intelligent video. And we stepped customers through 6 experiences that could be delivered with multi-camera and single camera today in meeting spaces. The other demonstration that worked really well was our multi-view demonstration on DMMBX. So, we have a feature coming out for DMMBX very, very soon now. It's going to be released. And what that's going to allow people to do is to put multiple sources and composite them on a screen. Obviously, video wall processors have done this for a long time. There still is a place for those video wall processors and LED walls, but there is a place where you may have standard displays and you want to do, 2 ups, 3 ups, 4 ups, right up to 6 sources in a very scalable and easy way. Think sports bars, courtrooms, education facilities. And we're bringing that to MBX as a standard feature.
Well, you sort of hinted at some stuff coming later this year. Obviously, clearly focused on collaboration. It kind of sounds like you're going to have an all-in-one product that will include, I'm just guessing based on what you said, control, signal routing and distribution, the ability to send signals wired and wireless, possibly all in one, with a simple user interface dedicated to the room, but also maybe some simplicity in signal routing. Am I guessing right? Is that what we're going to see later this year? It's going to be focused on collaboration?
Yeah, you're taking a very informed guess, I think. We have done this before at Crestron, right? We look at products like DMPS, which is, was a very well-selling product at Crestron and a staple for a lot of our customers. We took primarily content and control and merged it into one box. Collaboration was less of an issue at those times when DMPS was first thought of. But today you look at products like Air Media. Air Media does take, the ability to share content, collaborate with BYOD and automate the space. And we don't plan to slow down on that trend. We plan to continue to evolve around that concept or that model.
Yeah, I can kind of guess what you're going to do there. And I think it's definitely, the industry is moving very rapidly towards sort of like simplifying this but making it more powerful, simplifying it, but adding more capabilities to it. I know, Steph, you had a last question for him.
Yeah. So what, in your opinion, do you think integrators or consultants should be paying the closest attention to in the Crestron ecosystem right now?
Intelligent video still seems to be a big driver for planning spaces and designing spaces around these experiences. We are an outside-in multi-camera solution is probably the best way to describe what we tend to do with Automate VX and even just our standalone One Beyond cameras. But the design of those spaces, how people intend to use those spaces, it all becomes super important. And being able to make sure that at the end of the day, those systems have a price tag on them that should serve customers for an amazing experience. It shouldn't fall short. So being in early, designing that, understanding what the use cases are for the customers and helping drive those use cases to make sure the technology and those use cases go hand in hand is really an important aspect.
Well, one last question for you, since you're in marketing, obviously, Joel. I mentioned we were talking about AI, how AI is affecting going to websites, and I think it's almost like there's a new industry to make sure that when they search what they're looking for, that they get the right information from your website, more so than sort of search engine optimization. I'm sure that the traffic on your website is either declined or the industry has to grow faster than the website traffic is growing, which I don't think is happening right now. And what's happening is a lot of people are going to AI. Just when I just did a search just while you were talking, because I wanted to link the video you referenced that we shot on your intelligent video stuff in the Crestron booth. So we'll put that in socials. That link's available for our social team now where we're asking Joel the questions. But that way you guys can take a look at it. And when I did that, I didn't actually have to go to our site or your site. I could actually grab it from the AI result. Are you seeing more and more of that as well?
Yeah, certainly. And we're starting to look at things like our web assets and our websites and think, how do you optimize those for an LLM-based search as opposed to, human-based SEO search? And how do you make sure the right aspects are there that pick that up? It'd be lovely if people clicked on all the citations from AI searches, but as you guys know, quite often it's a quick summary. That's what it does. Move on. So.
Yeah, and when you look, you can look at the citations and see that they're from Crestron and see that they're from Rave or whatever, and you feel confident that it's accurate. It's when you're seeing results that you don't know who recognize where it's from. I think that's where you have to question it. Well, Joel, thank you very much for coming on here. Appreciate it, and congratulations on a great show, but also congratulations on what you got planned for the second half of the year. Look forward to seeing it.
Awesome. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Steph.
Thanks for joining us for Rave TV. Your first appearance on Rave TV. And of course, we can't do this without our sponsors. Another one is Shure, and Shure, of course, was at the Infocom show, and they had they had all their products. But in this particular case, we want to make sure that you know what's going on with the 920 and the 901 microphone array system. So check this video out real quick.
A camera tracking system can help all participants to have an equally effective communication experience. But without precise location data from the microphone, inaccurate camera views and movements can leave far-end participants feeling frustrated and fatigued. The Microflex Advance MXA920 and MXA901 ceiling array microphones make great camera tracking easy. The MXA920, with its multi-zone automatic coverage technology, makes it simple to define the areas that you want to hear and see, allowing up to 8 individual coverage areas. The MXA901 allows for a simpler install with its single automatic coverage area. Built-in voice activity detection on both microphones ensures that unwanted room noises from keyboards or chip bags won't trigger a camera movement. The MXA920 and MXA901 identify each talker's precise location in real time with X, Y, and Z coordinates. These coordinates enable the camera system to frame a single person at a distance or capture simultaneous talkers. Unlike other array microphones that can only assign one camera preset per lobe, the MXA920 and MXA901 can identify an almost infinite number of talker positions to support a totally fluid automatic tracking system. Both microphones also support preset-based camera tracking, where microphone data is used to trigger predefined camera areas. Even in larger rooms with multiple microphones and cameras, the MXA920 and MXA901 accurately identify who's talking and where they are in the room, so that the camera system always shows the right person at the right time. A flexible API allows it to be integrated with all kinds of camera tracking systems, whether they're hardware or software-based, with one camera or multiple cameras. Learn how the Microflex Advance MXA920 and MXA901 can enable a premium video conferencing experience in your meeting room.
All right. In other news in the industry, this is kind of a slow-ish news month because, a lot of vacations. Yeah. But there's been some pretty good news. Disguise introduced the X1, which is basically a software-based media server that turns any laptop into a mini media server. So it allows you to do small and medium-sized events. So if you're doing, let's imagine you're running an event for a church, or you're doing an event, a live event that's maybe image magnification and some creative content on a few different screens. It's pretty interesting, Steph, because this is a good example of leveraging a combination of hardware and software and the cloud to provide a media server that sort of like displaces some of the processing. And there needs to be some minimum requirements, but a typical MacBook Pro would be able to run something like this, and that's what that's one of the products they specified to use it with. So so if you need to turn your laptop into a media server, that X1 is going to be kind of interesting. Congratulations to Disguise for being the first ones to do something at this level.
And that pricing on that is like, I think $6.
Yeah, it'll run Unreal Engine from Epic Games. It'll run it right there on a MacBook and allow you to do that processing.
They've already been it's already been tested at a few like concerts and tours and stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's
you
cool.
Can see that story and where they've used it on ravepubs.com right now.
So the next story that I have is from QuickLink. QuickLink has the Studio Pro Proton and the Studio Pro Fusion. These are two control panels. So these are both obviously for live production control, but both for compact and large scale broadcast. The Proton is for small scale, more mobile. And then the Fusion is more for like the flagship model, really demanding live production environments, etc. So check both of those out and learn about those at ravepubs.com.
All right. So Vizrt, Vizrt, I should say.
Yes, Vizrt.
They always correct me. Vizrt is actually offering managed services now. So what that means is, like, if you're doing, if you're a broadcaster, whether you be a local television station, or you're running you're running the broadcast for athletics for a university, you can actually use them for managed services, and they can actually do the work for you end to end. So, if you don't want to set up your own broadcast facility, you don't want to have your own people on staff, Vizrt will actually do that. And of course, you may know this. I know you know this, Steph. You may know this if you're watching, that Vizrt is the company that invented NDI, so they know something about broadcast. What do you think, Steph?
They definitely do. So, okay, a next piece of news here. It's a little bit more industry news than product, but Excite has released the report of the state of the AV cloud in 2025. This is its like mid-year report that's all about like highlighting trends in open standards, cloud native platforms, etc. So basically, this aggregates data from Excite's Connect Plus platform, and it gathers some insights that they've done through surveys. They've done interviews with AV professionals, and then they kind of like launched, of course, the Open AV Cloud Initiative with BrightSign, Shure, Legrand, a ton of other partners. So it has a lot of findings. The report is linked on Rave Pubs, but a few of the important key stats from this is 86% of AV professionals said that open APIs are critical or necessary, and 84% expressed a preference for open systems over proprietary, and that cloud connectivity is becoming a deciding factor in hardware procurement, which is kind of like, I think that this is indicative, of course, of where the industry is headed.
Yeah, and I think the report's interesting to read because it sort of is a glimpse of the future and why the cloud, like making stuff available through connectivity to the cloud, whether it be the internet or whatever, is very, very important. And here's something kind of on a base level that I thought was kind of creative. 3G Productions, I think they're based out of Las Vegas. They actually started a website, but they're also welcoming other staging companies to join this, to sell their used gear at usedgear.com, whether that be truss or stages, but also AV gear that's been used at a concert or venues, and maybe used enough that the rental companies or staging companies don't want to keep it in inventory, or there's a new version that came out, right? You can buy that at usedgear.com. I think that's a really creative, there's recycling and there's reusing, and I think reusing is going to become a bigger trend rather than sort of recycling this stuff. Steph, it's so expensive to recycle tech stuff because of the mercury in it and other heavy metals.
Well, in a way, you are recycling it by selling it for a deeply discounted rate to people who are going to use it, who maybe don't need the most recent version of it or whatever.
Yeah, my Gen Z students call it rehoming.
Rehoming. Yes, it's a cat.
Okay.
Yeah. Great.
So you got to get with it, Steph. I know that you're a couple years older.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old. I don't know what's cool anymore. That's really it's really worrying.
We have one last thing for you before we go, and that is we have an upcoming virtual event in August. You got a month to sign up. Go ahead and sign up now. It's our Pro AV Symposium. This is going to be big. This is going to be our best symposium we've ever done. We say that every time, but in this case, it is going to be really good. We just found out in our ear, we're just getting information from our producer that it is CTS approved for 2.5 hours for all levels of CTS, CTSI, CTSD. The Pro AV Symposium, Steph, is going to be awesome this year.
It's really going to be awesome. I'm very excited. We have some really great sponsors who are helping us put this together this year. So shout out to Lightwear, ADI Snap One, and shout out to SNA Displays, who is going to be a sponsor.
They're going to partner with us on this. This is kind of a state of the Pro AV industry. So it's a great time to go. Great way to get some CTS credits. And it's easy to sign up. Just go to launch.com, LAVNCH.com. And that's it for the day. Can you believe it?
All right. Yep. That's it, everybody.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Gary. Always good talking to you.
Yeah. I'll see you next Wednesday.
All right. Bye, everyone.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's Rave TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary.